Hi, my name is Gary Bozza. I'm president and founder of Bridge Partners. In 21 years of executive search, I've worked with some great companies that have a very poor hiring process. Our objective today is to examine the typical hiring process and offer suggestions that can significantly improve your process that results in great hires. When I consult with clients and examine their hiring process, the first area that we start with is a job description. And what I find with most typical companies is a job description either one, non-existent, or two, significantly outdated. The second thing that I see in an interviewing process is that people take that outdated job description and move it over to Indeed and LinkedIn, and they call that their job ad. A job ad is not a job description. Let me use the analogy of a pickle jar. Let's assume you're going to a supermarket and you're looking on the shelves. The front of that jar is the sizzle. That's the job ad. That's what gets you excited about pulling that pickle jar off of that shelf into your cart. Could you imagine if all the products in the supermarket were turned backwards, where you would see the detailed ingredients? The detailed ingredients is a job description. If job descriptions sold a company, then all the jars, the bags, and boxes on a shelf would be turned backwards. Could you imagine the frustration that a shopper would have if they went in a supermarket and everything was turned backwards? That's the same frustration that 80% of job seekers feel when they go to a job board looking for an open position. So you're going to receive D players, C players, and if you're lucky, a couple of B players, but you're not going to get the ideal talent you're looking for. So what's worse is that now that I've got an outdated job description, I've used it as my ad, I've got poor candidates coming in, and now I'm going to probably give those resumes to either an inexperienced person or somebody in my organization that really doesn't understand what the hiring manager wants to hire. And they're going to determine based on paper, not people, of who they're going to interview. And at that point, they either do a quick screen and pass the best to the hiring manager, or they just give the hiring manager the resumes. No wonder the hiring managers are frustrated they're not getting what they want. So what happens once we hire that B player? All of a sudden, he or she shows up. As a hiring manager, we're running out to meet him. We may or may not have the initiation worksheet ready to go. If they do fill out the paperwork, it's like, what's next? This is not the time to think what's next. If you don't have a documented onboarding program that covers at least the first 90 days of what that person's supposed to do and what your expectations are, the person is not going to be onboarded properly. And if they're not onboarded properly, that B player is going to start looking like a C player. And worse yet, if you hired a C player, he or she looks like a D player. And then what happens? Either the individual gets frustrated and quits, or you terminate them within the first year. And then you chalk it up to, geez, it was a bad hire, let's go out and do that again. So for us to say, geez, our ad didn't pull, you really need to examine, was my ad short and sizzling, or was it just a summary of my outdated job description? So if the hiring process that I just described resembles your process at all, you've got to say to yourself, can I afford to make a bad hiring decision? And if you can't, then you must be interested in knowing the key characteristics of a great hiring process. In addition to our 8 steps to a great hiring process, we will provide 4 hiring resource tools. Number 1, great behavior-based questions. Number 2, great interviewing evaluation grid. Number 3, a great predictive personality assessment sample. And 4, a great onboarding program template. We are confident that these great tools will get you started on your way in creating a great hiring process.